Hello, my name's Paul Stephen from Sagittarius Marketing. I'm very pleased to be here. When Matt originally kindly invited me along to this event, I thought, yeah, that sounds great. A few digital guys going to the Loch Ness and trying to find the Loch Ness Monster sounds great fun. But then the fancy dress came in. I don't know where that started. And he didn't mention that, you know. I might have to lose the moustache, sorry. And so it's become more like a stag do now, really, than a digital conference. But bear with us anyway. When he originally said we had to come and do a talk, I thought, well, what can I talk about? And I had an idea, and I came up with the title of Back to the Future, which is what this talk was entitled. It was only a little while after he says, oh yeah, no, it needs to sort of involve Loch Ness as well, and the Loch Ness Monster. I was like, oh, okay, well, I can't backtrack on the title. I'm going to have to sort of you know, stitch my original concept into a Loch Ness one. So if my links to Loch Ness seem tenuous, that is because they are, actually. So anyway, so I put to you, ladies and gentlemen, that I can predict the future and that I can prove that the Loch Ness Monster exists. So we want to predict the future because if we can predict the future, we can then prepare for it. When it comes to online, we want to understand who all our customers are so that we can build marketing campaigns that are engaging, websites that they love, or apps that do everything that they want to do. So we're doing that really because we want them to love us and we want a share of their pounds, Scottish pounds included. So just to sort of put that in context, so I grew up in a corner shop, little village shop, and believe it or not, back then we used to collect data and improve the customer experience all the time. Yes, we did. We used to call it remembering our customers and remember what they like, what they didn't like, what they bought yesterday, and then sort of optimizing that customer experience for them. You could call it a form of personalization and conversion optimization, but you know, that's what we used to call it then. So I believe we have a lot to learn from traditional retail in the digital space. So we didn't used to call it customer experience then, but ultimately the retail industry has been refining the customer experience for centuries. So for example, if you walk into a store and a shop assistant says, "Can I help you?" What's your default response? So, "That's right, I'm all right, thank you." So that's not really, nobody wins really there. Well, people who know what they're doing won't do that. A friend of mine actually runs a chain of retail shops. And if someone walks into the store, they'll all but walk to the other side of the shop. Leave them alone, let them get on with it for a while. Let them browse around, and then perhaps after they've sort of settled in, say, oh, is it still raining outside, or whatever, you know, sort of chat to them, just break down. And then once they've picked something up and shown an interest, then you help them, and they want your help then. It's a very different sort of conversation. So when I enter a website, and all of a sudden it says, live chat pops up, it's right in my face. That's like the digital equivalent of, "Can I help you?" as soon as you walk in the door. So inevitably, most people just sort of click, "No, thank you." So I think we've got a lot to learn. So there's a lot we can learn online. It doesn't matter if we're looking at how someone searches, how big a buy button needs to be. Sorry, I'm waving this around. Good job it's not. How many stages is the right amount to put in a checkout process. This is absolutely no different to what the supermarkets have already worked out when it comes to deciding where the veg should go, where the bread should go, or where the booze should go, in terms of increasing basket value and improving that shopping experience. So the reason we need to do all this, sorry, you may think I've gone off on a tangent here really, but the reason we need to do this is because we're trying to predict the future by looking at the now. And I believe once everybody's grown tired of all the gizmos and all the digital channels, the brands that win will be the ones that understand their customers the best and understand what they are, what their proposition is, and have some empathy with the customers. So I believe even though we're in a digital world, the digital world will become more like real world was 100 years ago than it is now. So that is my prediction of the future, you might ask. So for us digital visionaries, right here now, we have to look for clues in people's behaviour and continue to try and understand what people are up to. And all of that sort of information about what we want to know is hidden in the data. So data is the new landscape of which we are now exploring. So just as our fellow Victorian explorers are digging through the sands in Egypt looking for lost worlds. Here in Scotland we have to use data to find the Loch Ness Monster. Excuse me. So, we're on a discovery mission here, and so, of course, in this day and age, when you want to discover anything, simply all you do is Google it, right? Okay, well, subject to network coverage, of course. So, preparing for this mission, I used Google's seamless suite of digital tools that all stitch together lovely to find out what we could about this Loch Ness Monster's timeline, their social proof, and their extensive digital footprint. So let's look at the information we have. We've got first reports back to the 6th and 7th century. We have first real sort of evidence, or first reporting recently, it was in 1933, by a man coming up from London in August. This heightened interest, and the famous surgeon's photo was taken only months later in December. But this prompted the Secretary of State for Scotland to actually command the police to protect this thing from being shot. So it is definitely here, the evidence points so. It has to be said, photographs have been somewhat unconvincing over the time. So in fact, the photographs appear not to have changed at all in about 80 years really, so it's doing rather well, which probably could be said the same for my Facebook profile, which I haven't changed since day one either. But evidently it's about 1500 years old, and you know, well, so who knows if it's still here. It was still looking pretty good 80 years ago. In terms of recent data, there's been various sort of sonar explorations in this lovely loch we see behind us, and they all brought up various 20-25 feet objects, so you know, there's definitely something there, but they didn't really kind of convert that sort of exploration, but they were close. And in 2001 they even found at one end of the loch clams and fungus that was sort of more suited to a seawater environment. So, you know, there's obviously a possibility there. No one can explain that, but this is obviously unanswered questions. But what do we know? What do we know? Certainly it has a Wikipedia page, so therefore it must be true. It even has a Twitter account, but nothing since 2013 I might add, so who knows. It's got 5 Instagram accounts though. Some are somewhat dubious, but there's definitely a lot going on there. And it has a Facebook page with 16,500 fans, so this is quite, there's no question of its social proof, quite frankly, and it is digitally active. If we look at the odds though, not good. The Loch Ness is in fact 23 miles long and 750 feet deep. The monster itself is about 25 feet long and 4 feet wide. Well, you know, on my maths, that's about a 0.00001% chance of finding it. So the odds are not good, and I don't think in terms of awareness, its Alexa ranking is very good at all. Although I have to say, there has been, according to Google Trends anyway, there's been a 5-fold sharp increase in searches for the Loch Ness Monster in late 2015. So I can't say, but who knows, this mission may have done all sorts of things to raise its brand awareness. So if we are to prove that Nessie does indeed exists, what does the data tell us? We need to gather more lifestyle data. We need to know more about it. We don't know enough at the moment to design a more complete persona profile if we have any chance of improving our targeting. We need to look into the whole funnel. There's too many holes in it at the moment. It keeps falling out. This is not good. Need to close those exit points. We need far more GoPro videos. There are not anywhere near enough GoPro videos around Loch Ness. You can't have any digital strategy without more GoPro. The lack of recent social activity by Loch Ness the Monster is worrying, so we clearly need to be creating content that is more engaging with this monster. It's not engaging very well. And finally, we need to improve the network coverage around here, because we're never going to get that elusive Loch Ness Monster selfie if we carry on like this. Thank you very much. Woo!